I was just going to say, if you're a super empath, how that makes you a super target for catfishing. Thank you so much for joining us on Second Act TV. I want to welcome divorce and family law attorney Jonathan Noble back to Second Act. Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us again.
Silka, I give and give and give to you. Happy to be here. Let's get it going. This is going to be great.
Always happy to have you. Jonathan has been here quite a few times. We have hundreds of thousands of views with you because you are, let's call you opinionated in a loving way.
Thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that. It's all coming from a good place.
Yeah, well, and today's conversation absolutely comes from a good place. To me, it's always been just unconscionable that this could even happen, and that is catfishing. Well, most people kind of know what it is right now, Jonathan, which is basically, people posing online, fake profiles to try to get money out of you, to scam you. This is happening at unbelievable rates when it should be relatively easy to spot. So let's talk about that. Why does that continue to be such an issue, and what do people need to know?
Yeah. Thank you, Silka. Okay. Before we get started, I just want to give you a little roadmap on why we're even talking about this. This is a two-pronged video. We're going to talk about the real problem of catfishing, where people send money to an unknown person. A lot of the catfishers are in Nigeria and other countries. Some are in Peru, and they lose a lot of money. I'm talking tens of thousands, some millions of dollars.
Right.
And the second prong of the video, and we'll make it succinct, I want to talk about super empaths, and for you to take a look at yourself and see if maybe you're got a target on your back for a catfisher, or if you're a super empath, how that could really hurt your life. And as a divorce lawyer, I've seen many cases where one of the two is a super empath. I'm not saying they're not empathetic. That's fine. But if you're a super empath, I want you to think about what you need to do to make adjustments to live a better life. So I just want to start quickly. Some common traits of super empaths. They have a high level of agreeableness. Now, it's okay to be agreeable, but you should also have your own opinion too. I look at it like there's highly disagreeable, which is no good. Disagreeable, not really good either. Agreeable, but can be disagreeable, which is really good. You have your own mind. And highly agreeable. And if you're highly agreeable, be careful, because you could be a super empath. Some other characteristics of super empaths and how it can work against you to form a healthy relationship. A lot of super empaths are what I would consider to be self-sacrificial. They say yes, but deep inside, they really want to say no, but they say yes to go along to get along, or to keep the peace. That is not a good formula to be in a good relationship. You're going to end up in my office, and I don't want you to end up in my office. I want you to live a happy life. You're too focused on pleasing others, right? So, that, again, eventually it's going to wear you down. Too focused on getting validation and approval from others. Stop worrying about that stuff. I don't know whether it's social media and how many likes or views, but in your personal lives, and I've seen this in divorce cases, one of the two, and it could be a man or a woman, even if it's a same-sex marriage, if you have a super empath, they get pounded into the ground and they walk around with resentment. And the relationship never is able to bloom. And you'll see how this fits in to how catfishers really target these kinds of people.
I was just going to say, if you're a super empath, how that makes you a super target for catfishing. In addition to, of course, people who are just lonely and they prey on that. But I think how all this plays together, I think, is super interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes being highly agreeable is a survival mechanism. Maybe it's the way you grew up, or you had to be super agreeable. You had siblings that were overbearing or parents that were overbearing, and you just found it a way to survive. But in the real adult world, you don't want to be that way if you
Right.
can avoid it. Now, getting back to catfishing and how this all fits in, the way that these schemes work is someone will reach out to you, and a lot of times they will steal a profile picture off of social media, Facebook, one of the dating apps, and oftentimes it will be a very handsome or a very beautiful person who will just send you a text message or Facebook message, "Hey, how you doing?" And if you're lonely, and you're in a dead marriage, which is usually people are lonely, or you're a widow or you're a widower, they'll try to do some reconnaissance on you. Maybe look at your social media if it's not private, and they'll see maybe the area that you live or what your career is or was, and they're very, very sophisticated. Once they get you in a dialogue, and if you're a super empath, all bets are off, because they are going to be looking for a way to set up that first payment mechanism, usually via Bitcoin or gift cards. If they're just trying to engage you in a conversation. So think of this as a public service announcement,
Yeah.
where we don't want to see anybody sending money to anybody unless you know who they are and you know what it's for. It never ends well, and it could snowball. All right.
Right. Let me one thing that you said about the picture and how they contact you. I know on Facebook especially, there was a time when I received probably 3 of these a day, and it was usually like a military doctor who was abroad, somebody on an oil rig. I mean, this is like, I'm thinking, why am I getting so many men on oil rigs that are really super handsome? Or doctors who, why? Oh, they wear stethoscopes. They're always wearing stethoscopes. And it becomes so ridiculous, if you're being besieged with this. Yet again, so many people fall for this. And that's why we really want to dig into this today.
Right, exactly. They're on an oil rig with a bad internet connection, so they can't FaceTime you. They're in the military, as you mentioned. They're on a mission in a third world country with bad internet. There's always an excuse not to have a video chat. The other tips that we've been able to find is they're using words like babe and honey and you're my soulmate. Now, you never even met this person, but they just know that you are their soulmate. Yeah. It's really well scripted. And if you're super empathetic and somebody reaches out to you and says, I just need $30 to pay my cell phone bill and we can video chat, and you agree to gift card them, they want you to rub off the numbers on the back of a valid gift card. Now they've got the payment mechanism pipeline opened up. They're not going to probably ask you for a ton of money up front. Some do, a few $100s or $1,000. But once that first payment is made and there's a way to do it, the requests will never stop.
Right.
I'm in the military, but I lost my rifle and I have to pay $750 to get my pass to come meet with you. Or I need money for an airline ticket to come be with you, babe. Or they got to figure it out. A lot of times, the people that are sending the pictures are not of them, obviously, but the people are models. I mean, they are really good looking, and you're thinking, wow, this person wants to be with me. They want to talk to me. They want to marry me. I just need to send them another few $1,000s so they could get off the oil rig or they can get a new cell phone. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. And when you describe it like that, it sounds ridiculous. And I've always been, I've said this before when we've done these segments, it goes, how can anybody really fall for this? Because the minute they ask you for money, you haven't met them, they don't video chat, that's it, you're done. And I have learned since then that has nothing to do with intelligence or even common sense. They are these catfishers, these scammers. They grab onto something that maybe you and I can't understand, such as a super empath, and that I think that's why we're talking about that today, to consider that, as well as that lonely person that all of a sudden they're getting attention that they haven't gotten in a long time. I don't know. I asked you earlier if you're familiar with the Manti Te'o story. He was a superstar at Notre Dame. This happened 10 years ago. It was a little different than this, but there's a great documentary out on that. I'll link to it, to where really good-looking, well-to-do, intelligent people are falling for this.
Okay, we got people who are super empathetic, might be lonely, widower, it's got this good-looking person of the opposite sex engaged in a conversation. A lot of the more sophisticated catfishers will send a picture of their driver's license, but it's not their driver's license. It's a phony driver's license. And it's not hard to Photoshop that kind of thing. A lot of the more sophisticated catfishers are on an oil rig without good internet access, but they'll text you how to log into their bank account. You are going to log into their bank account. They give you the password, and it shows $2 or $3 million in their bank account. And all they need you to do is send them $100,000 so they can buy more equipment so they can get off the rig. Well, the bank account's phony. You don't know that, but based on the evidence that I've seen, they're really sophisticated. How they have you log into a phony bank account showing $2 or $3 million, and they'll text you, babe, I'll give you the money back plus another 100. If you just send me the 100, I'll get off the rig. Look, this is what my bank account has, and the bank accounts are phony. And these people are in a place where you're never going to find them, and you're never going to see your money again. A lot of times they want to be paid in Bitcoin because it's hard to trace. So there are other times where they wanted to be paid in a combination of gift cards and Bitcoin. Sometimes they have like a mule or a third party who will be in the US where they'll have a bank account that you could send them the money. And people get duped into doing that. So, there's YouTube videos, the Catfish channel and others, where this is prevalent. And a lot of these people are well educated. Now, here's something else to think about. When they discover that something might not smell right, a lot of people being catfished are too embarrassed to tell anybody, friends or family. They might be $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 in the hole already. Right. One woman mortgaged her house to send a catfisher a couple $100,000. Even after the jig was up, he was still asking her for more money so he could come see her. People wait at airports for these people to arrive because they send them $20,000 and they send them airfare, and they don't show up because they're not real. You need to be aware of this. It's really serious, and it's incredibly sophisticated. And law enforcement really can't do much about it. And through the lens of a lawyer, at first I was shocked. And then when I went down the rabbit hole and I saw how prevalent it is, I reached out to Silka to make this video because I would hate to think that somebody watching her channel would be catfished, but it's certainly possible in the demographic.
Well, we've talked about, I have I have one video on catfishing. It's come up in a lot of the dating videos. Like I said, to me, it's always been, well, of course you don't fall for this. Just as long as somebody hears, the three things, if they ask you for money, that's the first thing. If anybody asks you for money who you haven't met, it was just so logical. And that's why I'm just overwhelmed by the fact that so many intelligent, educated people fall for this.
I just want to touch on a couple other things about super empaths. I'm going to ask you to work on being more assertive. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. All right? You'll be a better version of yourself. You might even be more attractive to healthy people. Narcissists are not going to love the fact that you stand up for yourself. And avoiding conflict is a sign of an unhealthy relationship. So if you're a super empath, dial it down, maybe get a little bit of help or therapy or find out what it is that prevents you from living your best life. Last point, our passivity may communicate a reluctant yes, but our heart says no. If that's you, then this video is for you. So again, we're talking super empaths and how they're targeted by catfishers and the catfishing itself rolled into one video. I hope this makes sense. Leave a comment. Make sure you like it. Subscribe. Stop stealing this information. Subscribe already. It's free. Monitor people. She should be over 100,000. Let's get this. Let's have a campaign. Let's get Silka to 100,000 second act. Look at all this great information.
Oh, Jonathan, you're so funny. Yeah, I always say this, you're so much better at the marketing than I am. So yeah, please subscribe, leave a comment. Jonathan, of course, I think I said in the beginning, has his own YouTube channel with wonderful advice. What now?
I'm working on a new outro for the channel.
Okay.
Like a folksy Neil Young kind of thing. I'm working on it. I'll let you know when I'm done. Anyway, no, thank you all for watching, and share this with somebody who could be targeted by unscrupulous criminals. Because people are getting wiped out. We don't want to see that. We want to see you live your best lives. So,
and there's a lot to be said for long distance relationships. A lot of people, they get started this way. This is why the technology we have today does open up the world for us to meet people, and that's a good thing. Just make sure that you have at least video access, that you have actually spoken to these people. And if you are, then it's wonderful. You can absolutely have a long distance relationship, but just don't be taken advantage of.
Yeah, I would also add that if you do have a video chat with them, I'd still be very weary about sending money or until you have a real life in person. And even then, there's a lot of scammers that go after people in our demographic. So be very discerning.
Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan. Well, again, I'll link to all of your information. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you again soon on Second Act TV.
Looking forward to it, Silka. Thank you for having me.
If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.